last week I shared how to make this rich and smooth chocolate mousse. So this week I decided to share how to make this chocolate vanilla glaze so that you can use both recipes and create your beautiful chocolate mousse cake. This recipe is very simple. You can make with 5 simple ingredients with some easy steps. At the very end, I want to complete some cakes and share it with my precious Ray as always. So let's get started. Here is ice water. I recommend to use really cold water, ice water ideally. Cut it up. Completely let it soak. Make sure that all the sheets are touching the cold water. And let's set aside. You want to do that at the very beginning because it's going to take at least 5 to 10 minutes for gelatin to completely soak up all the cold water. If you cannot get gelatin sheets, no worry, you can use gelatin powder as well. Add water. In a bowl, prepare your sugar and cocoa powder. And mix sugar and cocoa powder together. You do not have to do this, but I like to mix them beforehand before adding in the water because that way cocoa powder creates less chunks in the pot as you heat and they tend to get smoother. So it's just easier when you strain later. So now I'm going to add this in a water. And we're going to heat it up as we mix. Heat up with medium heat. Make sure they are nice and smooth. And once they are smooth, you can change to spatula because it's gonna be easier for you to scrape off the bottom and clean up the side with spatula. This contains cocoa powder and then later we're gonna add heavy cream. So there are some ingredients that easily get burned. So you wanna make sure to always mix and scrape off the bottom, clean up the side, and keep going until it starts boiling. Alright, it started boiling, but let's just wait a little bit more. Alright, now it's boiling everywhere really hard, so I'm gonna add heavy cream. Over mixing. And keep mixing until it boils again. Once it starts boiling really hot like this, you can remove from heat. So this still contains tiny pieces of cocoa powder, like chunks. So to remove that, we are going to strain to really make sure they are smooth. Alright, look how smooth they are. And now we are going to add the gelatin. Soaked up nicely. You can feel it with hands when it's completely softened. So you don't want the excess water when you add gelatin. So I'm going to strain. Check if the gelatin is completely melted. Now it is still too hot, so let's set aside and let it cool more. So now it's about 40 Celsius, which is the temperature to pour on a frozen cake. I recommend to pour on a frozen cake because it's much easier. So it flows like this, smooth, not lumpy. And when you touch it, it may be slightly warm, but you almost don't feel anything. So now I'm going to clean up the bottom. Insert the spatula and wiggle like this. And I'm going to place on top of here. So this guy can be reused if there's no mousse or sponges in it. If it's still clean, you can actually wrap this up or in this container. There's this much left. I'm going to save for later use. So this is cacao nib. Very crunchy and delicious. 100% chocolate, like roasted chocolate. So take one of those, place on the center. Touch cacao nibs. Just to make it a little bit more pretty. So I got these loaves because they love flowers, so I'm going to put them on cakes. I'm going to peel off this petal. Touch right here. So it's sticky, so it's stick easily. Ta-da! You touched right after. Hey, that's not edible. It's just flowers. It's chocolate cake. Like it? So among the 5 ingredients we use today, the biggest key ingredients I think is cocoa powder and gelatin. So cocoa powder, typically if you use a better quality cocoa powder, the color is darker, so that leads to darker chocolate vanilla glaze. And if you use cheaper one, usually the color is more light, so it leads to more light vanilla glaze. So it's a slight difference, but you can control the color by cocoa powder. So today I use gelatin sheets. A lot of pastry chefs prefer to use gelatin sheets because a lot of times they are better quality than gelatin powder. And even if you say gelatin sheets, there are some kinds actually, and that can be categorized with things called bloom. So bloom is the strength of gelatin. Today I use my favorite gelatin. So this company has 5 different gelatin sheets and blooms are all different. The one I use is platinum gelatin sheets, which is like the highest quality. 100 bloom gelatin sheets and 200 bloom gelatin sheets create different texture. 101 would be a little bit softer, and 201 would be a little bit firmer. And these are the cakes stored in the fridge for a few hours. Once it's chilled, it loses the shine slightly. You might be able to see the difference. And this one was stored in the fridge for 3 days. It is still shiny, but obviously as it sits, it starts losing the wet shine. So I recommend not to make it too airy to keep the look and quality. So thank you so much for watching this video till the very end. I really appreciate it. Keep baking, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.